And we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm your host, T Muzan. I got Kabi in the building. Say what's up, Kabi.
What up, though?
I was waiting for it. I'm glad you brought it back, sir. Thank you. Give me another one just for the honorary. Hey. Guys, we're back as always, teaching you how to get to the good life using extraordinary health and wealth and all the other things that are needed. As always, press the like button, share this episode with somebody, because again, this week we got another good one for you. Today we're diving into some conversations around some cities. Now, disclaimer: we're going to make some people upset, but we're just reading some stats,
Mm-hmm.
guys. We're just reading stats. We're not taking this. Don't get offended if we happen to talk about the place that you were born or the city that you reside in. We just want to talk some numbers with you guys because we think some people are gonna want to know these things, right? Could be.
That's right. Get out your feelings. And quite frankly, the ironic thing is I might be in my feelings with a couple of these, but they're just stats. They're just stats. That's what I'm telling myself.
That's it. That's what we have to remind ourselves, that they're just stats. But anyway, we want to dive in, start to again have these conversations around a lot of moving parts, a lot of transitions. I know you guys have been seeing this a lot. And again, as someone that helps people in the financial space, and as could be somebody that helps someone in the health space, what we're seeing are these moving parts, this transition where people are moving jobs, moving positions, taking on more virtual roles, doing things that are stepping away from maybe normal traditional paths. And now they have options, right? They have options of moving to different cities, they have options of where their families want to reside. This is all a part of designing the life that they want, right? Designing the ideal life for themselves. Maybe living in a metropolitan city wasn't the ideal thing. We were just doing that for work. We were just doing that to adapt to what needed to happen. But now things are changing. There's a movement, there's transitioning happening. And now we're seeing people move to different cities and have different options. So we're going to talk a little bit about some cities and some of these statistics. Fill them in could be of what we're really diving into.
Yeah, you set the stage beautifully, man. I think we're about to see a second, maybe a third wave of individuals really shuffling across the country. During COVID, we saw during the event, we saw we saw a lot of shuffling going on. People were making pretty radical statements, such as everybody's leaving California to go to Texas. We're seeing companies shuffle over. I know you were paying attention to this as well. We're seeing all types of company. Elon Musk is moving everything to Texas, right?
Mhm.
And as things begun to settle a little bit, we realize maybe that's not necessarily the case. Sure, there's definitely some shift going on. People moving a little bit more to areas where they can get a little bit more space, where they can get some more land, where they can get more bang for their buck. I think we did see some of that. But to give you an example, for the Bay Area here, like the numbers people were saying was insane, but what
Mm.
really turned out to be the case is it was like a short little ripple effect. Sure, some people definitely went out of the Bay Area and even out of the state of California, but the majority of the movement was actually from, let's say, the center San Francisco, the 7x7, to outer counties, Oakland, and then Oakland to outer counties, right? To Contra Costa County, etc. And that's what you really saw. And in fact, right as things have kind of shifted a little bit here, you saw people starting to come back. Actually, I've seen,
Mm.
prices rebound. I've seen rents rebound. I've seen sales start to rebound. Um, so this, people were calling for a radical fall in real estate in the area. As a property owner here in this area, I'll tell you, like, things have bounced back pretty nicely. Like, it's actually kind of insane how resilient it appears to be. But obviously, things happen. But I thought that was really interesting. But going back here, top 5 cities. We're gonna give you our top 5. Keep
Mm,
watching. We'll give you the top 5 as the Good Life sees it,
that's right.
or really as Himbo of the Good Life sees it. And we'll go ahead and where we might even put out a chart. We'll put out some of these stats we've got here, and we might need to make a few adjustments, but we're gonna put out a chart, put
Mm,
out a blog post, put it out on different platforms for you guys to share your opinions, share your thoughts, maybe research that we missed, and we might make an adjustment where we are going to put out an official top 5 worst cities for you to live in, move to, or invest in,
mm.
as it's stamped, sealed, and approved by the Good Life. We're gonna get that out there for you to debate at the barbershops, and just make sure you still get your hair cut.
That's
But we're
it.
gonna put it out, and the
How did
number
we
one.
how did we rate these? Are we going to tell people like how did we come up with this? Like what were the criteria?
Of course. That in fact, let's start there. I
Yeah.
think one of the top, we'll go criteria by criteria and kind of talk about what we saw. One of the number one things that comes up when we talk about, best or worst cities to live in is, of course, cost of living or
Huge.
affordability. So,
Huge.
in terms of, some of the cities that came up, brother, some of the most expensive cities that came up, and a score of 4 is really high, and
Mm,
then 1 is low within the top like 10ish, right? So
mm,
a city like Memphis would be about a 1. It's still high cost of living, but
mm,
not as high as, say, a city like Detroit, which is about a 3.
mm,
A city like Dallas, which is about a 2. A city like Pittsburgh, which is about a 1. And let me give you an idea of what a city like a 4, as some of you may have guessed. Los Angeles.
that's what I was gonna guess. Good old
Los
LA.
Angeles. I'm surprised I don't see San Francisco on here, actually. I mean, we got to take another look. We got to take another look. But Los Angeles definitely made the list with a total cost of living 950,000. Average rent 2,734. Average
Wow.
cost of home is just short of $950,000. Average cost of groceries 375.
Man.
All right.
Listen, this is crazy. This is crazy just to hear these numbers. And again, from a money standpoint, we lived in Southern California, so we understand how it can be out there. But when you start to have options, why would you choose to pay that? Right? If you have options of somewhere else in the country or even in other countries, but let's just keep it here, right? Like if you have options, what is the purpose? What was the purpose of LA? What brought people to places like that? It was the work, right?
The work, the sunshine, the quality of life, the fun, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You pay
yeah.
for you be and then I guess you pay for those types of things, right?
Oh,
Right?
without question. Without
That's
question, you pay for it. And let's compare LA to, though, let's say total cost of living 950,000 compared to a place that's still up there like Memphis.
mm,
Memphis, right? 306,000.
yeah. That's a huge that's a huge difference. That's what 60% difference,
That's
right?
true. But you ever been to Memphis in the summer?
I have not actually.
There's a reason why you don't go to Memphis for vacation for the summertime, my brother. I should not cut this. I got friends in Memphis.
I told you we're gonna make some people really upset, but
You're right.
don't be in your feelings. We're not talking
Listen,
about your city.
let me say this. Memphis is a great city in the sense of, that's where you get the great young Dolph, coming out of Memphis. You got the Memphis Grizzlies, shout out Ja Morant,
That's right.
you know. You got a few other good things coming out of Grizzly, but out of Memphis, but I tell you what, weather is not one of them. Weather is not one of them. It gets hot, it is muggy, and we'll find a few other things, but it's also not necessarily a place thriving with work,
Mm.
right? But then you compare to a place like, I was a little surprised by this, but total cost of living in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, what up though? Right? $410,000 for
Wa-
Detroit.
Wow. I'm sure that's taken into account all the suburbs and things around Detroit.
I would hope so, because it's definitely not Detroit, just the city.
Right.
Right?
I'm
Average
sure.
cost of a home, $410,000. Like, what about? That sounds crazy to me.
It does sound like a lot, but again, when's the last time you've been to Detroit?
I've never stepped foot in Detroit. I would
There we
love to
go.
visit. I've heard there's great pizza. Shout out my guy Jalen Rose. You
Okay.
know, the Detroit Lions one day will win a football game. And we appreciate Detroit. We are big Detroit fans here on the Good Life Show. However,
That
again, Detroit is not
seems
boasting.
seems expensive, right? It seems a little high.
Yeah,
So what qualifies somebody like this is just one criteria, this cost of living, but how high do you think this falls on somebody's list of like how they're choosing a city or how they're choosing where they're living?
I think it's top three for most people, if not top two.
Mm,
I think it's top three for most people, if not top two. How far will my money get me?
mm,
That is one of the first considerations, right? So, I'm actually a little surprised by this, man. I'm gonna tell you, let me give you one more. So Memphis, 306, right?
mhm.
306,000. And then you got a place like Houston, which I actually have been to, 333,000. I mean, that's not too far off. And quite frankly, I would much rather be in Houston,
Houston,
Texas.
absolutely.
No, it's no state income tax, you know,
Yeah.
diversity is really
But
nice.
they're a little high on the property tax. I think I saw a list. They might be top two, top three in property tax.
Yeah, but average cost of a home, 331,000 compared to Memphis at 30, compared to Detroit at
Again,
409.
I really think Detroit is taking into account a lot of things around Detroit.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. But golly.
Yeah, but that I agree with you on the point that that's normally going to be in the top two, top three of somebody's decision of where to go.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons we moved out of Southern California, right? That's one of the reasons. It wasn't the only reason, but it was definitely one of the reasons, right?
Cost of
Was
living.
cost of living, right? Like we knew we can get more bang for our buck on the East Coast. We happen to have family back on the East Coast, so that's why it made a lot of sense also. But regardless, cost of living is very high on people's lists. So looking at a list like that, knowing where you have to start to really be strategic about where you would want to reside now that again there might be more options for you. So
Right. 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 I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And then looking at these cities as well, this data is data, right? It's a
mm,
sliver of reality. It's a sliver of reality. It doesn't tell the full picture. So we look at things like poverty rate, poverty rate, and cities with the highest poverty rate. Well, gosh darn it, Detroit, Michigan is on the list.
wow.
Shout out Philadelphia is on the list,
Hey
right?
yo.
Houston, Texas is on the list. Dallas, Texas. Boston, Massachusetts. San Antonio, Texas. Los Angeles, California. Chicago, Illinois. Speaking of tax, Chicago, what are you doing? New York
Mm,
City on the list as well. Now,
mm,
I almost think we got to separate our list a little bit because it's tough to compare cities like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles to places like Detroit, Memphis. I think it's a little different. You're in a
mm.
different category, right? You got to cut the slivers a lot thinner to get a better estimate of what's going on. Because you could live
Oh,
in Detroit, you could live in Los Angeles, and life be very different for two different people
of course, but I think that's every city. That's why I don't. I think
to a
that's why.
different degree,
Yeah, but regardless, every city has its rich area. Every city has its hood, right? Like it's just
but to a
every.
different degree, though. Like, think about New York. But think about this, though. I've never been. You can't. I've been to Memphis, right?
Mhm.
And I've been to San Francisco, for example. Nowhere in San Francisco, you could literally come out of a multi-million-dollar $1 million estate and walk out on the street and see the worst of the worst.
Mm.
I just don't see that big of that high of a high
You can
and a
do
low of a low.
you can do the exact same thing in Miami. You could walk out and walk 3 blocks one way, come from a multi-million-dollar beachfront mansion, and then walk 3 blocks another way, and you're gonna be in the hood.
To your point though,
That's what I'm saying.
Miami and San Francisco, very different than Memphis, my brother. Very different than Detroit.
Understood, but there's still, it just might be a little bit different of a discrepancy, but there's still one.
Not a little bit.
There's still somebody walking out of their $400,000 home and going down the street, and then going a mile down the road, and it being somebody that's on Section 8 that makes $10,000 a year. Right?
Yeah, but it looks real different when you're walking about out of 10 million to Section 8. That's a different category.
I get it. But
It's a different
think,
degree.
but I think it's still okay that they can put all of these in a list, and them all, because they all, again, have good parts and bad parts. Yeah, there might be a little bit more extreme, but this is a poverty rate, right? That was the category, correct? It was poverty rate.
Yeah, poverty rate.
Right? So all these places have cities, and the cities have parts of the cities that are in poverty. So what's the rate of them, right? Like, it doesn't matter, I guess, how the discrepancy. It's just they got poverty.
No, it does matter. It does matter. It does. No, I disagree. That's where I disagree with you, man. I disagree with you. It does matter. It feels different. It feels different on when you're boots to the ground, which I love to do, right? Boots on the ground. It feels just super different, man. It's not the same. It's not the same. 400,000 in Section 8 versus 10 million in Section 8 is not the same category. It's just not. It's just not.
It's still Section 8 for somebody. That's all, right? That's what I'm
Section 8.
saying.
You're right. You're right. But then you got 10 mil on the other side, though. you see what I'm saying? But that's not the only category we're considering here. I do think there's got to be a big city, medium, and maybe small city consideration, because I think you get different character. If you want a better picture of what we're talking about, New York, San Francisco, LA, Miami, Chicago. It's just a different category.
How high is this on somebody's list of choosing a city, though? Is it top 3 like
poverty rate?
Yeah, poverty rate. How high is this? How much are you weighing this when you're choosing where to relocate to?
See, I think it depends on who you ask, right? Because I literally was talking to somebody the other day, I will not mention any names, who was like, you know what? There's too many poor people here. I don't want to live here anymore. Straight up, I quote, said there's too many poor people here. I don't want to live here anymore.
That's their right. That's also, I mean, in all honesty, like, that's great. It's just no one says it out loud like that, but like, it's great.
Yeah, that's what they said. Too many poor people here. I don't want to live here anymore. So I guess it does matter to some people, right? And I think to some people too, on the other side of it, it matters that maybe you may not have what it take to live a comfortable life in the city, and that you have those that have way more than they need, kind of rubbing your face in it a little bit. I don't know. To me, that might matter. To me, that might matter, right? I think on some level, I don't know if it's the highest thing on the list, but I do think it matters to have people around who, of course, there's always going to be discrepancy, but the degree of the discrepancy, right? It makes a difference. It makes a difference, in my opinion.
We might have to agree to disagree on that one. I think, I mean, I hear it, but I just don't think it's high enough for people. Poverty is poverty. It's poverty. Doesn't matter, right? It could be
poverty is relative. That's what I'm saying. Poverty is relative.
Yes, and it's not worse because somebody had 10 million versus 400.
Yes, it is, bro. Yes, it is.
Whatever. Move on.
Hey, if I want people to weigh in. Is it worse, right? I'm saying poverty is relative, and poverty feels worse. when relatively speaking. Let me give you an example, man. I'll tell you what, I've lived in really poor areas, and I've lived in really rich areas, man. When I didn't know I was poor, life was better.
Right.
It was just better. How did I
Understood.
not know I was poor? Right?
Understood.
I look
Understood.
left, I look right, and it's like, oh, he's doing a little better, but he's not doing that much better. And I've lived in places where I'm like, good gracious, I can't afford a bacon cheese sandwich, and you over here asking where my next Ferrari is at. That's
I
different.
I understand. I
All right,
understand
all
your
right.
point. I understand your
Let me
point.
give you another category though that we
All
got
right.
a lot of people will consider.
Yeah.
Right, violent crime,
Hmm.
number of incidents per 100,000 people. Right, so let's give this out from, still high, but low to high. Right,
Hmm.
the low to the highest areas we're looking at. All right, we're looking at starting with the bottom, going to the top. Chicago, Illinois. Right, New Orleans, Nashville, Oakland, California, Cleveland, Ohio. A little surprised by that one.
Nashville.
Yeah.
I didn't think violent things happened in Nashville.
Oh no, those country singers will bash you with a guitar. Don't play.
Nashville. Wow, that's
Yeah, Nashville on
surprising.
the list. I'm surprised too, actually, but not too surprised.
What's going
Memphis
down in
again.
Nashville?
I'd
Anyway.
be. We can look a little deeper. Himbo, give us a couple stories. Let's go on the ground. Let's go on the ground, boots on the ground, figure out
Yeah.
what's going on. But number three, top three: Memphis, Baltimore, and
Mm.
Detroit.
Mm. We kind of
Violent crimes.
I could figure the Detroit side right there. They're going through tough times right now. Tough
You know what's
times.
interesting? We'll compare this list here. We'll give you this list coming up and out in order, and we'll compare this list to two other lists, and they have a slightly different view,
Mm.
actually, slightly different data. So we'll see what it is. Unemployment, right? Which an indication of how people are actually doing there. Are there opportunities present, and are there opportunities that people are qualified to take advantage of? So we have from unemployment of, let's say, average unemployment 2021, is looking at like maybe about 6%, 5.6%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that on let's look at what these cities have. So Cleveland, Ohio, right, looking at about average 5.9%. Pittsburgh 6.1, Sacramento 6.2, Detroit 6.2, San Diego 6.3. A little surprised by that.
Mm.
Philadelphia 6.3, Houston 6.6, Chicago 6.8, New York 6.7, and Los Angeles coming in with 8.7. Interesting.
What was this for again? Tell me the category.
This was for unemployment rate.
Unemployment rate.
Yeah.
Again, how high is this for somebody on their list of I'm gonna move to this city? Do you look at I've never looked at the unemployment rate, but maybe somebody has. Maybe that's been something important to somebody. Like, will I be able to get a job?
I'll tell you who it's important for. Um, Most people are probably moving to a city with a job.
Right.
And those that move to a city and find a job it'll be important that they know, but also investors, right?
Mm,
Thinking about, if I go and I invest in this city, what direction is it moving in?
right.
All right. So I think it's important for those considerations, and or if you for a lot of people, their biggest investment is their home.
Hmm.
So if they, not necessarily that they should be, but if they go to a city and they purchase a home, what are we looking at? Are you buying in a stable market? Are you buying in a market with good employment, and
Right.
things are looking on up for you?
Makes sense, man. That makes sense. The investor side is important, right? The investor side to think about these data points as to, for those of you that are listening that want to invest in something, maybe it makes sense to pay attention to those of you that are trying to get into real estate investing
Yeah.
to look at this type of data as to what cities to invest in, What are the up and coming cities? What are the cities that are going to have a job boom, or people are going to move to because of quality of life, or cost of living? This is probably good information for the investor.
Yeah. Or you want to go to where people are going. So looking at U-Haul data, for example, where people are already moving, looking at where people have jobs, looking at where companies are moving, looking at where there's low crime rates. Because even if you don't necessarily care, people do,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be where things are bubbling, right? And you also want to be a place with good weather, right? So places that on here um, that are a little suspect, right? And I'm suspicious of this list right here, Hembo. That's why I haven't quite said it right yet. But we have on here Phoenix, Arizona, which is supposed to literally be boiling. All right.
Mm.
Bring an egg, crack it on the sidewalk. New Orleans, super humid, 60 inches of rain per year, hurricanes. It's going to wipe it off the map, apparently. Houston, Texas, similar situation.
Oh man.
Extremely high humidity, often 90% humidity. Come on, man.
Come
Come
on,
on.
man.
Come on, man. Boston, Massachusetts, too much snow. I've lived in Boston. Um, lived being keyword. Love this, love the place. I just lied. It's okay. But no, it's a lot going on. Boston is a place where, for example, there's a lot going on, but do you necessarily want to live there? I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Then you got to
Tough.
consider air quality.
Hmm.
I'm sure you can
Air
guess.
quality.
Yeah,
How many again? How many people are you think are paying attention to air quality in their
there
moving
should be.
decision? You should be,
There
but
should be.
this is probably not top 10 for most people.
So this is, well, I think we got to shift it a little bit, because this is not what people are paying attention to. This is what people should pay attention to.
Hmm.
And I think once that shift changes the list.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're giving them is like, listen, you should consider these things. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're overlooking it. But once you start considering these things, you might change your list.
Hmm.
You see what I'm
That makes
saying?
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And once again, Los Angeles falls here at the bottom. It's horrible air quality. Horrible air quality. Oh man, this move to LA is looking shaky.
It's like, what did we
Horrible air.
do? What did we
Yeah.
do?
Horrible air quality. Bakersfield, California, not much better. Arizona coming up again. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area not looking too great. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is looking all right. And then we have
Hmm.
Denver on here. We got to double check that one. I don't know about that.
A lot of factory cities. A lot of factory cities.
Denver, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Very surprised by. But this is according to America Lung Association, and I guess we should trust them, those liars. 15 American cities with worst air pollution. Los Angeles, top of the list. Bakersfield, right? We have on here a lot of California places. Phoenix,
Hmm.
Arizona, San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, Modesto. I mean, sheesh.
There's
Yeah.
a lot.
Las Vegas. Not
West
only the air
Coast in
quality bad,
general. California, West Coast. Something to pay attention to.
to me, I think that's a little tough, man. That's a little tough,
Uh,
because you go outside of San Francisco, and you've got great air, man. You know,
I don't
great
know.
air.
I don't know if the majority. This is just data, bro. Like we said, we're not gonna get. We're not gonna get butthurt about this. It's just
It's
data.
oh
That
man.
data is saying the majority of the cities with horrible, poor, below standard air quality are in the state of California, or if not, very close to them. What does that tell you from the data,
It
sir?
tells me the data has an agenda. It tells me the data.
Uh,
It tells me the data has an agenda. But we look at this. According to U.S. News and World Report analysis data for U.S. Census Bureau, least diverse cities.
mm.
Could put a couple guesses out there, man.
Least diverse cities. It's got to be something in the Midwest, like Lincoln, Nebraska. Uh, I don't know.
Eh,
Boston might be on there too.
I mean, shoot, in terms of distribution of power, it might be, but once they got on here is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Huh.
Detroit, Michigan, Portland, Oregon, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Louisville, Kentucky, that's another one, that's for sure.
yeah.
And Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis popping up on a lot of these lists. Is that
Tough,
man? Is Memphis right? Because we have to get back to the 5 worst cities, right? We still got to get back to that and give
right?
that. But like, is Memphis gonna be on that list? Is Memphis gonna be a
It's
good?
looking like Memphis is trending up there.
Yeah.
It's looking like Memphis is trending up there, man. This hurts my heart. This hurts my heart because I was just down there. Great people, you know. It's got a lot of good things going for it. You know what I'm saying? Barbecue was straight. I
Can
mean,
imagine.
maybe not as good as Houston or Austin,
Mm,
but it definitely had good barbecue.
okay.
Um, but another characteristic or point that we're looking at here is U.S. cities with the worst quality of public water. First of all, you shouldn't be drinking public water anyway.
Mm,
Make sure you get yourself a nice filter, such as a Kangen machine, if you so choose. 45 years to 50 years of durability. Go ahead and filter that water and drink it with confidence, my friends.
hmm.
And otherwise, listen, I don't know what to tell you. You got a whole bunch of stuff swimming in your water you can't see. But especially if you live in the great state of California, apparently.
Mm.
All
Good
right,
old
Modesto,
California.
Fresno, San Diego. Oh man, at least Los Angeles isn't on here yet. All right. You got Houston, Texas showing up, Jacksonville, Florida, Las Vegas, Dallas, Texas showing up here. So not great, man. Not great.
Yeah, public water. Again, these are the things, I guess, like you said, shifting the conversation. These are the things you should be paying attention to. Granted, you might not need to use the water, just like could be said, right? Getting yourself an actual filter, going the other direction without actually drinking it, but still, the quality of your water is going to be important. Most people still,
Absolutely.
you know,
Shower,
shower and wash their dishes and
eat at
boil
restaurants.
boil eggs and eat at restaurants and all that type of stuff. So it's important. It's important.
Matters. It matters, man. It matters. I think that's one that's, obviously we have places that are worse that people are struggling in. But we really got to start caring for our environment in general, particularly our water, man. Worst cities for quality of life in general, as put out your quality of life in general. We got our top 5 here.
Mm,
You ready? You
let's
may have
do
heard a couple of these cities already. Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, Baltimore, Maryland, Memphis, Tennessee, and St. Louis, Missouri.
it.
Worst quality of life.
Worst quality of life. Memphis is really not trending upward right now. That's tough.
It's trending upwards to being
Could be in
towards
at the
the top
top of
5.
the yeah, top 5 worst, right? Like trending up
Oh
there.
man.
But that's tough, man.
That is real tough, man. US cities with the worst access to healthcare. You've heard a couple of these names already. All right. This is based on the availability of healthcare facilities and providers, average ER wait time, financial barriers to care, and overall health of citizens.
Mm,
Right. You've got a couple places in Texas, San Antonio, Houston. You got a couple places in Florida, like Jacksonville. You got New Orleans. You've got Louisville, Kentucky, Austin, Texas. So I'm a
mm.
little surprised to see Phoenix coming back up. And of course, Memphis, Tennessee.
Man, Memphis is we're really going in on Memphis this episode. I feel bad now, but
Oh man, this is I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Shout out because Memphis is a great city, man. It's a great city, you know.
the data says apparently not, right? The data
Apparently,
says we're all being misled by our hearts or something, but
I'm definitely being misled by my heart here a little bit, man. Unhealthiest cities in the U.S. These metrics are determined by healthcare, food, fitness, and green space. Oh man,
Las Vegas has got to be in there.
Las Vegas has to be in here somewhere. But you know what's interesting? I think Hembo might be a little biased, man. I don't see Las Vegas on here. Hembo, what's going on,
Hembo,
Hembo?
Hembo, what's up?
Right, we got
What's up?
Brownsville, Texas, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Hmm.
Right, Jacksonville, Charleston,
The
Augusta,
South.
Columbia, Montgomery,
The
and Memphis,
South.
Tennessee.
The South is unhealthy. That is what that is saying. The South is the unhealthiest region in this state,
That is almost
in this
100% the
country.
South.
Yeah, no, all of them were.
Oh man, that's tough. Least
Why?
outdoorsy cities though.
Wait, that for that most unhealthy. What's that correlation? They get sun. It's just food, huh? It's probably
Food,
what they eat.
food, healthcare, fitness, and green space. Access to
Mm,
green space.
mm,
Yes. No West Coast cities, I noticed.
mm. Yeah, well, the air quality's so bad. I mean, they got they gotta get some way to get some oxygen. Wait, what do trees give off? What is it? CO2? Is it?
Trees give off oxygen
It's
and take
oxygen,
in
right?
carbon monoxide.
There we go. Right. It's got to be
So
some of that out there.
yeah,
Air
least
quality.
outdoorsy in America. Cities.
Hmm.
Listen, some of the usual suspects: Dallas, Texas; Detroit,
Wow.
Michigan; Fresno, California. Now, Fresno itself may be least outdoorsy because it's hot as I don't know what. But outside of that, you've got some access to some great stuff. I know a couple
Mm,
people live there that they do it. They're very outdoorsy, so that's interesting.
mm.
But 2% of the city is dedicated to park space, and there's only about one playground for every 10,000 people.
Wow.
Cleveland, Ohio, and Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis. What are we gonna do with Memphis? My goodness.
So that's the things we're looking at. That takes us to our official list that may not be so official yet.
Mm,
We may need to take in some information from you guys. You know, give us your links, give us your data. Let us know, are we wrong? Are we pulling the wrong data? Do you have counter data?
yeah.
Right? Let us know. So we can go ahead and correct and update our list. But as of right now, as of today, our top five, starting with five and going to number one, worst cities on our list of top five worst cities to live in currently. Number five, Chicago, Illinois.
Ooh, Chicago coming in at number 5.
Number
Man.
four, Dallas, Texas.
Ooh, the Mavs.
I'm a
Mark
little
Cuban.
surprised. But number three, Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh man, I thought they were gonna get number 1 on this one.
For sure. We may have to recalibrate this a little bit. Number
You might.
two, breaks my heart, Los Angeles, California.
LA. Hey, welcome to the city,
Now,
man.
before we
Welcome.
reveal number one, I got a bone to pick. We just went through our criteria right now, and you really gonna tell me Los Angeles is worse than Memphis, Tennessee?
Apparently,
No way.
because Los Angeles did not show up on every list. Like they might have only shown up on 1 or 2 lists at a high rate. So that means it. But like, well, actually, that's the other way around.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually it. No,
correct
wait.
yourself, sir.
I correct myself. I stand corrected. Maybe you're right.
That
Maybe
makes no
Memphis.
sense.
Yeah, that's true. Memphis showed up on every single list, bro.
Every list.
Every
Hembo,
single
we gotta
list.
talk. What's going on? What's going on, Hembo? What is this?
Memphis had to be number 1.
Memphis has to be maybe not number one, but definitely not better than Los Angeles, California, because you give anybody who doesn't have an issue with the finances, whether they want to live in Memphis, Tennessee, or Los Angeles. I would say most, not all, will
Mm,
select Los Angeles. Would you agree, sir?
I would agree with that, actually. I
All
would.
right. So we have Chicago at 5, Dallas at 4, Memphis at 3, Los Angeles at 2, and number 1 worst city to live in America right now, Detroit,
Detroit,
Michigan.
Detroit, the D. I'm so sorry. The worst city to live in right now
Man,
by
hey, they had
all
to
the
be you.
criteria.
Hey, they had to be you, Detroit. Hey, they had to be you. But if you disagree, man, let us know. Let us know. Let us know. But you know what's interesting though is like, let me say, there's another list here by this YouTuber Nick Johnson, I believe, who does a lot of these sort of lists over the years. Has a pretty large following, and he
Okay.
put out just a quick top 5. He actually did it more so by state
Mm,
than by city.
okay.
Uh, go through that, and we'll go through 2 lists. Here's 5-1: Arkansas,
Of worst?
Louisiana.
These are of
Worst,
worst? Okay.
worst, 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 worst. Similar criteria we're using, maybe slightly different weighted, right? But Arkansas is number 5, Louisiana number 4, West Virginia number 3, New Mexico number 2, and California number 1.
Look at that. Well, what do you know?
I knew
He
you would enjoy that.
agrees. He
I
agrees.
knew you would enjoy that.
But
But
here's what's funny though. Some of the other ones didn't even the states,
didn't
as you
even
think
pop up.
about it. Yeah, right. There's no specific city inside of those states, I guess, that would chart on the way that we were just measuring it. But these states, all honesty, they sound like crappy states to live in. Like, who wants to live in New Mexico? Shout out to
That's
New
true.
Mexico, guys.
That's true. That's true.
Uh,
That is very true, right? But Louisiana, Arkansas, West Virginia, and New Mexico sound very different than California.
very true, also. Very true.
Very different. You
But
know what I mean?
California, just again, just overall, just not a great state. It's just look at all the cities that pop up. Do we have
Per
to go back
money.
to air quality? Do we have to go
Stop
back to
this.
air
Stop
quality?
this. Stop this. Stop this. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Say what
Uh,
you will. But out of that list, I'm taking California 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of
yeah,
10 times for sure.
because you don't value your life, nor do you want to live long and be able to breathe.
You tell me you breathing better in New York?
Oh, sure.
No way.
There's there's
Ain't no way.
I don't know.
Ain't
The
no
the
way.
the
No
weather
way.
has something to do with it. Bringing in that breeze, bringing in the fall, bringing in the winter, clearing out the impurities,
Okay.
right?
Like
It
the
gets
rats.
better. Like they got to go somewhere in the winter.
Yeah. So another one, Reventure Consultant, which does consulting for people relocated, etc. Tends to put out a lot of these lists and did a top seven worst, but more so looking for a little bit more from the investor perspective than from the normal perspective.
Mm,
Top 3 things considered as high cost of living, slowing economy or
mhm,
debilitating economy, and violent crime.
mm.
We're not factoring in weather, we're not factoring in a few other things. Maybe you are, but not to the level, right? Number 7, New York, New York. Number 6, Anchorage, Arkansas.
Hmm.
Number 5, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
What? Oh wait, no wait.
Yeah.
This is the worst. Yeah. Okay, got
The
it.
worst, the
The
worst, the
worst.
worst.
I gotta
New
fix
York,
it.
New
Yeah.
York, Anchorage, Arkansas, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Number 5, New, San Francisco, California. Number 4, and then
Mhm.
the top 3, Los Angeles, Nevada. Bum, 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 bum. Los Angeles, California, number 2. Central Valley, California. Stockton, Fresno, and Bakersfield, number 1.
Wow. Worse cities? Is that what that
Worst
was?
cities.
Worst
Worst
cities.
cities.
I knew people that live in Bakersfield. I know people that
Yeah.
live in Bakersfield. That's the worst city.
Yeah, man. As we're looking at this, bro, I gotta say, you know, West Coast, and the South, not looking great, man.
Not looking great, but that's where everybody, well, people are moving to the South. People are moving, I guess, to the West Coast too, in general. More people are moving out of the West Coast, more to the South.
I'll say
But
more to the South than the West Coast for sure.
yeah, but as you can see, the Northeast still wide open, still blemish free, right? Can't fall under the bottom 7, the bottom 10. We're always in the top. Why? Because we're well-rounded, great people. We got 4 seasons. We get a chance to nurture ourselves and and get a chance to grow in all different seasons. We got great air quality. People love us. We love people.
Are you
But
done, sir?
uh,
Are you
I
done?
I can keep going. We have diversity. We can get to plenty of different cities at the same time. We all blend together. We work well together as a corridor, as a tri-state area, multiple tri-states.
Listen, I just
You want
all
me to
right.
keep going? You want me to keep
No, I
going?
don't.
Okay, okay,
No, I
because I
don't.
could,
No, I don't.
because I
I'll
could.
say this, man.
We have the better football teams.
What?
I just I just made
What?
well listen, the Patriots are up here, so they can cover a lot,
Yeah,
just so you know.
yeah, you know,
Right?
the Patriots
Throw
are
in throw in the Eagles,
the
right?
Patriots are cheaters. The Eagles are
Th-
terrible.
get
What
out
are
of
you
here.
talking?
Throw in the throwing the Giants here and there. Not
The
really.
Giants.
Not really.
Stop this. Stop this. All right. Now we're clearly out of control here. We got to end this episode. We want to know, what are your top 5 cities? What criterias matter to you? What criterias matter to you? What are your top 5 worst cities to live in or to move to in 2022, 2023? Let us know. What did we get wrong? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? We're very curious what your thoughts are. And where factoring in health and wealth, where would you potentially consider moving to? Give us your list. Give us your top
Mm,
5
that's it.
worst cities. Top 5 worst cities. Where would you not live if nobody could pay you to live there?
Mm. And people from Memphis and Detroit, right? Hit us up. Like we weren't doing this to bash your city. We promise. But talk to us. What's going on over there? What's up in Memphis? What's up in Detroit? That y'all would fall very high on these lists. What's going on? We want to know. We haven't been, so well, Kabir's
I-
been to Memphis.
I've been to Memphis. I enjoyed myself.
And
Uh,
and he reps Detroit as if he's been there, but he doesn't.
Detroit basketball. Listen, that is true. That's crazy. Actually, I do rep Detroit for no reason, and I've been to Memphis. So top 2 right there. Well, actually, and and I'm moving to the number 2 worst one,
That's
Los
right.
Angeles.
That's right.
Apparently, I have an affinity for worst cities to live in.
That's your toxic behaviors. You just pick the wrong cities. You just want to be in the most toxic cities. Being the purity inside of this toxicity, these toxic states.
You know what, Detroit? You know what, Memphis? You know what, LA? I got you. I got you. I'm representing. I got you. What up, no?
See, that's it.
Whoop that trick.
You found your calling. You found the calling. You go to these cities that are not the greatest, and you make them
Yeah.
pure. That's it.
West side.
Cool,
All
man.
of them. All of them. I rep the top 3, apparently. You know what? It's because I care about the people. I'm equal opportunity. I fight for the people that are at the bottom, that are being trodden upon, that are being looked down upon. I come for you. I fight for you, right? And you can have the nose up here, northeast folks, right? You guys can have all your
Here we
whatever you
go.
do over there.
Here we
And,
go.
your cold weather that you think is so much better than everybody else.
Here we
Your
go.
your your your, your crowded cities. You can have your rats, your mega rats, your king rats. You can have all that stuff. All right. You can have your horrible traffic hills. All right.
Let's not talk
Yeah.
traffic, Southern
No.
California. Let's not talk traffic, Los Angeles. Let's not throw that one in there.
You know what? You got me that one.
There
You
we
got
go.
me there.
There we go.
I may have stepped into a hole right there. Fair
That's
enough.
right. You did.
I was driving in LA the other day and it was horrible. It was horrible.
Can't get away from that, man. Can't get
No,
away
man.
from it. It's not going to get better.
All right, brother. That might be it for us. Let
Yep.
us know, guys, what you think. And we might need to do a part 2. Or should we do a top 5 cities to live in and to move to? And let's see how great the East Coast, the Northeast really is, which they're not, but they think they are, but it's okay. Because West Side forever.
Listen, it's going to be more East Coast on the top list than there were West Coast on the bottom list. I'll tell you that.
All right. We'll see.
That's right. It's going to happen that way.
All right, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us for another good one. And if you like this episode or if you didn't like it, make sure you share with somebody that's going to like or hate it. And let's get some comments going. Let's have some conversations. And make sure you join us next week for another episode of The Good Life. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, peace.